Hi there, folks. Well, I've got something a bit different again today. This is a video that someone has asked about, and it's about how do I create a music video with the songs that I play, whether they be original songs or covers. Just how do I put them together with the music and the video and everything all synced up, etc., etc. So this is sort of just a brief video about that. I thought it'd be quite an interesting topic to cover, actually. It's just something I do as a bit of a hobby, really, so this is just how I do it, but there's probably many other ways and plenty of other programs that you could use, but my setup here is pretty basic, so I'll just quickly go through that with you, actually. So you can probably see there in front, there's a computer there which is actually recording the audio as I talk right now. Now, I can use the camera audio if I just want to do a real basic video and not any mixing. But of course, that's exactly the issue I'll have. If I just use camera audio, then that's all I'm going to get is camera audio, and I won't be able to mix the sound. So hence, what I'm actually recording now is going through the microphone, which I'll just turn the camera around to now. Okay, so that's the Behringer C1 microphone that I'm using to actually record as I video this right now. I guess the thing with the camera is it does actually record in stereo. So one advantage with just basic speech audio, if you like, it comes through stereo on the camera, which would be quite useful if you're dealing with sounds in different areas. For instance, if there was someone sitting to the other side of me here and we were both talking, that would probably create sort of a kind of stereo recording on the camera, if you know what I mean, because it's a stereo microphone. Now, as I'm just talking into a single microphone here directly, it's really only going to be recording in mono, even though this track that you can see on the computer here is actually a stereo track. It's actually only mono recording, if that makes sense. That'll all probably make sense once we put it all together in terms of the music, piano, etc. So I'll just show you the setup that I've got in terms of equipment. So I've got my laptop there, and of course I've got the keyboard there in front of me, and I've got my mixing desk down here, which is normally sort of tucked away underneath, so you can't really see it, so it's not in the way. But I've just pulled it out at the moment, just so we can quickly go through that. And of course I've got my monitor speakers. I've got one over there, and there's actually one over the other side as well. Okay. Sometimes I can use headphones to monitor the sound, but usually I just monitor through the speakers purely because I prefer having room audio rather than headphone audio. And I've started to sort of stay away from using headphones too much anyway. This mouse pad here is looking a bit rough, as you can see. I can sort of do that, and that makes it look a bit better. I've got a mouse here which is actually controlling the mouse on the laptop here, and this one here is for another screen which I use quite often for music, sitting in front here, but I've actually just put that down to one side at the moment. It's just sitting down there. Okay, so looking at the connections then, so I've got the Yamaha MG10 XU mixer. Now the XU has got the built-in effects, which I use quite a lot for vocals, things like reverb especially. So that's what the XU suffix refers to. Now, in terms of connections then, okay, so the very first connection I've got at the top here is I've got my microphone, which is this one here. So, Behringer microphone there, that's plugged into the first input on the mixing desk. I've then got a guitar input here, and that's this acoustic guitar, the Ashton guitar, which I did a video on a few months ago, actually. You can look at that on my channel if you like, but that just plugs in to the mixing desk in channel 2 there. And then in 3 and 4, I've got the keyboard left and right, because obviously the keyboard is a stereo instrument, so we need to have left and right, which I actually then have panned hard left and hard right. So one channel's that way, the other channel's the other way. And of course then that gives me a true stereo piano mix. So those are the basic connections that I have, inputs that is. The outputs here, I've just got the monitor out. Okay, I've just got it going through 2 1/4-inch jacks at the moment via a double adapter. It's a bit of a Mickey Mouse way of doing it, but it's just the spare cable I had lying around, so I've just done it that way. And it actually just plugs into the back of the speaker, which actually controls the other speaker, which is just over the other side there, sitting on the table. It's got a cable going to it. But this is the main speaker, which has the amplifier built into it. So that's it. That's really all there is. Also, there's a headphone socket here. So I've got a pair of headphones that I can use, and sometimes I do actually, occasionally, but most of the time I'm just monitoring through the speakers. Right, so that's the connection side of things. Putting it all together. Okay, well, what I do is there's two ways that I record. Either I record piano and vocals together and just produce a video with that combination, or I will mix it sometimes with a backing track. And so it's a bit of both, really. So what I'm going to do now is I might just do a quick demonstration of playing and singing, because what I normally do when I do my videos is I actually play the piano and sing live, and that's just on a single track. So in that situation, I can't separate the vocals from the keyboard. Okay, so for a more professional music video, like an original song that I've professionally produced, I'll usually get that mixed at another studio, in which case I'll have separate vocals, separate piano, and etc., and then I'll produce a music video. What I'm talking about here is just a home video, which I'll do here in my, which I normally do here in my studio. And in that situation, I'm usually just recording what I'm actually performing at the time and just mixing it with a an existing backing track. When I'm singing with vocals, I'll usually add reverb. Now, I've got this button here which turns the effects on and off. You'll actually hear that if I talk properly in the microphone. If I press that button now, you'll hear obviously the reverb come in. So testing 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. Now, if I turn that button off, you'll hear that it's just gone back to a dry vocal. So if I'm just talking into the mic, I will make sure that that switch is turned off. So you get a more natural sound, but then if I am singing and playing at the same time, I will normally just turn on that reverb, and then you get sort of a more live feel to the sound. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the reverb on. There we go. So we've got reverb now, and I'll just quickly play. I'm going to reference to a video that I've just uploaded. It was a video called Teddy Bear, which is an Elvis Presley song, and I did a home studio cover version of that. And so I'll quickly play a few bars of that, and then you'll see what it is I normally do. So I've got my piano in front of me, and I'll play the intro and sing a couple of bars. Baby, let me be your loving teddy bear. Put a chain around my neck, lead me anywhere, oh let me be your teddy bear. Okay, so that's a little rough version there. Okay, now I'll turn the reverb off. So that there is just a simple piano vocal, nothing else. Now, if I decide I'm going to mix that with a backing track, what I'll end up doing in that case is I'll actually play along to the backing track at the same time. Okay, I'm sort of jumping all over the place with all the tracks that I'm recording, but you can see what can happen. You end up with a lot of tracks, and then you end up having to put them all together. But like a jigsaw puzzle. It's kind of almost like baking a cake. You're adding all these layers and getting them all together in the right order. That's essentially what you've then got to do once you've done all these separate recordings. One other thing to mention actually about the recording of the audio, and I'll just move this camera over to show, because I didn't show you before. I've actually got the laptop connected via a USB cable. It's this one here, just in the back of the mixing desk. And the great thing is that that cable is it transmits and receives audio simultaneously. So what I can actually do is I can use that to record audio coming out of the mixing desk into the laptop, but I can also play back audio from the laptop into the mixing desk. So that connection actually serves a dual purpose, which is a real bonus. It means I don't have to have a separate input and a separate output for the laptop. The keyboard itself, though, as you'll see, I've actually got audio connections going from the keyboard, even though it is possible to hook up the keyboard via the USB on the back of the keyboard. For various reasons, which I won't worry about now. In fact, actually, what it is I usually just use that for MIDI. Okay, I don't use it for audio. So there is a USB connection on the back, but I use that purely for MIDI out of the keyboard, not for audio. Whereas these connections here are audio connections coming from the audio out on the back of this keyboard, which is just down here, which I can show you. Right, there's our... Right. That's just our audio out there. So that's my real rough explanation. And I could actually go into more detail in terms of the video mixing side, because there is a program I use on my other computer which is called Sony Vegas. And all I'm doing in that program is I'm just combining the audio which I've created on this laptop with the video from the camera. And anyone who's used recording software before will know what I'm talking about, or sorry, video software or video editing software will know exactly what I'm talking about there. It's quite a lot of fun. You're effectively making a movie, and you're pretty much doing a real basic version of what Hollywood, movie producers do, by actually creating a separate soundtrack to the, for the actual movie. That's effectively what you're doing. And in terms of the program that I've got on this laptop, normally if it's an original song I'm recording, I'll normally use Cubase, and I'll use that to record all my different tracks, and then I'll send that off to a guy that I know that also uses Cubase, and he mixes them professionally in his studio. But because this is a real basic video recording and real basic audio recording I'm doing here, I'm just using a program that's called Cool Edit Pro. It's an old program which I've had for ages. On the laptop here, it's pretty basic. Well, actually, it is quite... You can do quite a lot of post-editing on it, and I'll add quite a few effects and all that sort of thing. But, just for recording, I normally use Cubase. But as this is only a basic recording, I'm using Cool Edit for that. And I won't stop this, because if I stop this, it will stop recording. So I won't show you what it looks like when I close it down and open it up again, but you can sort of see there anyway. I don't think it's called Cool Edit anymore. That was the original name of it. I think it's got a new name now, but I don't think it's a program which is distributed anymore, so you may or may not have come across this one. I'm not sure. Oh well, that's sort of my video for today. Hopefully that makes some sense. If you've got any questions, just feel free to ask, of course. There's probably a few things I've missed, but I've tried to cover everything, and it's a lot of fun, and I recommend, if you're into music and if you're into video editing, give it a go. There's lots of things you can do, and you can sort of become your own filmmaker, basically, and the sky's the limit. Alright guys, well thanks for joining me on this video, and I'm going to see you next time for an original song which I'm going to post on my channel in the next few days or so look out for that. Alright, thanks very much. See you again. Bye for now.